Hi, it's Dawn. I'm back today to play around still one more time. Actually, my goal today is to kind of clean out this watercolor palette, kind of clean out some of these wells in the lid. And in the process, what I'm going to do, in the past I've done like watercolor patterns, which I absolutely can do. But one of the things I thought I would do today is play around with making some stuff to go in journals. Some people call this fodder. Some people call it, edges on the journals. And I'm not really paying too much attention here to how I tear this, other than I'm just, kind of shooting for the middle. And I've got some off-cut watercolor paper that I've used. And we may not use all of this today, but we're just going to do a little craft with me moment where instead of throwing this away, washing it down the sink or whatever, we're going to turn it into something useful. And obviously this is just old dictionary paper and some book page from my stash of random things and random books. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now none of this has been treated. This is all fresh, if you will, fresh book page. And we're just going to make some squares. And this paper is probably going to soak it up like crazy. But I'm going to do analogous colors, which means the same color, like green next to blue. That's an analogous color. So I'm going to do like green and blues, or I'm going to do, we're just going to play. So we're just going to paint some boxes, which is super easy to do because you just draw a line. And then you draw another line, and then you just kind of fill it in like a coloring book as a kid, right? And they don't have to be perfect squares. They just has to be. And all I'm doing here is just cleaning up this palette. And this is kind of how I do it. So I'm going to make these, and then when they're done, I'm going to go back and take a fine liner or a Sharpie, if you don't have a fine liner, and I'm going to outline the boxes with that fine liner to kind of just give them a little structure, and then I'll probably splatter them with a little white paint or something and I may clean up these edges on this paper later, like this little raggedy edge here, or I might just leave it raggedy. I kind of like raggedy. I didn't used to. I'm embracing raggedy. All right, so we're cleaning that up. We may grab a little of this over here. And we're just having a little fun, having a little play with the paper. Because when I'm done kind of exploring, I don't mind having some stuff pre-mixed, but not to have any place to come back in here and mix, like all of my wells are taken up. Yeah, that doesn't make me happy, because then that means I gotta find another piece of equipment somewhere, or another plate, or another receptacle, or whatever to make that happen. So there's that one. We're going to set that to the side. Now we're going to come over here. I'd already started kind of playing around with this. So here's one there. And so I'm going to carry on. My goal here is to kind of clean up one of these wells up here, these mother wells. Maybe I'll try to clean this one. And the watercolor paper is going to take this. So, and this one I'm going to be just kind of less precise on purpose than I was with this other one here, which was very boxy. I like both. When I'm using these as edges in my journals, or as down the side of a card front, all of this to me is, all these shapes are great. And I'm going to use different intensities of color. I'm going to go over here and grab a little of this. So these are going to be mostly greens and browns, which is where I was mixing the mother when I was playing around with this palette earlier. Grab a little green there, and then I'm going to mix them together, and then I might go just with a little bit of water on this one. But this goes really fast, as you can see. Grab a little of this and a little water and see what we get here. And the goal here is not perfection. The goal here is just to have just a little swirl of paint on paper. And then I'll show you how to finish them. All right, so there's that. So that's very quickly, in just a couple minutes, we did two. I wonder if I should switch gears and clean up this purple one a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. So then let's do the same. Let's do the raggedy, jaggedy. Ooh, I'm on the smooth side of this one, I just realized. I kind of like the textured side, but oh well. I wasn't paying attention. Alright, I'm going to grab some Mother in this one, so we get a different intensity of color. And then even more Mother. Oh, look at that. I cleaned up a well. Just like that. I'm going to make this one kind of skinny. And then I'm going to grab way too much pigment in this one, and I'm going to put that one here. And then now we've got a purple one. Alright, we'll set that one over there to dry. Let's grab this guy and let's just clean up some more of these Mothers. Let's just kind of clean this palette up. Now, I'm going to do some squares. Let's try squares again. Let's try some proper squares. Now this is purple mixed with the Mother. I really like when you take a super bright purple like this and you, I'm going to try to be a little more precious with this one. A little more clinical in the square definition part. Just so that you see a difference. If you've got a really intense purple and you add a brown or a Payne's gray to it, it really does mute the heck out of that puppy. Look at that. I mean, compare those. Pardon me while I reach back over. Wow, love that. Love it. I like this purple I'm dealing with right here. It's wisteria, or I'm not even sure what this color would be called in the Pantone color of colors. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can water this down a little, make it a little more. And of course, I'm enjoying the watercolor paper, how it responds better than the book page, so I'll go back to the book page here in a second. It just handles the water so much nicer. All right, let's grab a little of this guy right there. It's going to be a different color, but we're just going to go with it. That's that green. I put a little bit of phthalo turquoise in this, and it just took over. This Mother, this well. That's why I have so many wells of Mother up there, because that phthalo just went, bam, I'm here to play. Let's add a little more green to that so it makes sense. Like it's a gradation, like it's an ombre between green and purple. Some of that's granulated. There's little pigment fragments in the Yeah, I could be more precious with these squares, couldn't I? I'm not doing a great job with that. I said I was going to, and then I didn't. And the way I can get precious with them and make them like very boxy is to keep turning the paper. It's very difficult for me to do a proper square without turning the paper. See the difference? Turning the paper, not turning the paper. You kind of get wonky squares when you don't, for me. I'm sure somebody out there will say, oh, if you did this, you did that. And they're much better at it than me, but here we are. All right, let's see. And I may end up cutting this in half and not using it all as one big strip, or cutting off a part of it. These are offcuts anyway. These are pieces that some people might have thrown in the trash. And, you know, we're not doing that. We're not playing that way. We're using them. Now I'm going to try to clean this little well up here. And it's also great practice for just muscle memory. For working with your brush, working with your paints, working with water control, working with different papers. When you can just sit down and do a little of this every day. It's kind of like weight training, you know, you do a little bit every day before you know it. You're making some serious progress. And you didn't even realize it. Journey of 1,000 steps thing. Alright, let's try this. I'm going to try this. And that's the other thing, is you kind of experiment with techniques, because you're like, well, how can I make this a little easier, a little different? And then that tip right there just cleans that edge right up. Isn't that pretty? I mean, I'm not saying this is the best looking piece of fodder ever, but I like it. All right, let's go back to some book page. Let's try this other one. We did dictionary. Let's try this guy. I'm trying not to have too much water on my brush so that this paper's old. It's not brittle, but it's that stage between new paper and that brittle stage. It wants to be brittle, but it's not there yet. Give it another few years and it will be. Another decade and it will be. But you saw how easily it tore. It tore fairly easily. Okay. Then next I'll do some wonky swatches on the book page. Then we'll give those guys a dry. And then we'll come back and outline them and splatter them and all the things. And I'm not going to clean the whole palette up. I just, like I said, I want a couple clean mixing wells that I can, when I go to use this, then I have, oh, hello. Then, well, that's twice. Oh, there's some water here and it's stuck. That's what it was. Okay, sorry. We can fix it. Or not fix it. It really doesn't matter. But what I was saying is the goal is to have a couple of empty wells. I've got 1, 2, 3. These are kind of off camera. I've got 1, 2, 3 empty. This one's almost empty. So, I mean, I can get happy with that. I don't have to have the whole thing clean. I just don't have the whole, I can't deal with the whole thing full either. All right, let's see. Let's pick up a little bit more here. The other thing too is I don't necessarily mind if some of this contaminates. Like, I don't want it pristine clean. This is close enough. I got some mixing space because I don't think I'm ever going to want these colors straight, because straight is seriously intense. So the fact that there's a little bit here, a little bit there, maybe a little bit left in that well, or a little bit left in that well from another mixture, I'm okay with that, because I want to mute these down when I use them myself. But if all of these are like brimming to the rim full, how are you supposed to use it? How are you supposed to mix more? How are you supposed to know what you're going to get? Because even if you don't mind them muted, if you need a yellow, where are you going to put the yellow? Because it's going to completely disappear. It's going to completely vanish and have nowhere to go. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Maybe. Because it doesn't take much for yellow to change its mind about what color it is. Now I'm just trying to clean the edges of this one a little. And in the process, get a little muscle memory. Ooh, I didn't clean this edge up. Sorry. Okay, put you off to the side and let you dry. Let's go back to some dictionary page. See what we can get here. And you can leave like some edge to it, or you can take it all the way to the edge, or you can leave a big old margin. You can leave these little tabby doos on it. You can only put it in the I tend to only put it in the text area, personally. Which means I might go a little bit further over on that, now that I say that. And then I can decide later if I want to keep some of the edge pieces on it or cut them off. That can be decided later. It doesn't have to be decided right now. My goal is to clean the palette and to make some fodder. Make some embellishments. Homemade. You know, recently we heard about all of our Joann stores are closing, I think across the country. And I don't know about you, but it's super easy to pop into a big box store, I don't care where it is, and buy embellishments. But, you know, as that shrinking, as those options are seemingly going away, we have fewer and fewer options. There's still options out there, but they aren't carrying as much, you know, SKUs, it seems like to me. And so the solution is make your own, right? And this is really meditative to me. I try to do this every day. Kind of like I try to take a walk every day. Same idea, different exercise. But then you get exactly what you want. You get exactly the colors you want, the size you want, and it becomes very personal because you made that. Okay, there ends the rant. Can you imagine these colors all came from this? Make a big mess and then clean it up. See what you get. You might just like it. All right, one more, I think. I'm going to try to get the rest of this kind of cleaned up. Maybe. Okay, there's that one. Set that guy up there. The one on the dictionary page. Yeah, let's do it. Alright, what do we got over here? Let's just kind of sop some of this stuff up. Ooh, magenta. I didn't see you. Kind of activating stuff here and getting it. It's like the never-ending gobstopper sometimes, I swear. Alright, let's get a little more green going on than this one instead of brown. Oh, we got brown. Oh well. Listen, I do a lot of grunge, so I'm never mad about having brown or gray-brown or umber or whatever color this is going to end up being when it dries, because it does dry lighter. You know that. That's not news. And everybody's got old book page. And even if you don't, get out copier paper. Ooh, maybe I'll do that. I personally like book page a little better because I think it's more interesting just to look at behind the paint. But copy paper works too. I'll grab some copy paper in a second. We'll do that. Because everybody's got that. You could grab graph paper from your kids' math class this year that's left over. You could grab, you know, school lined paper, the lines on it. That would work also. This technique works for any paper you got hanging around. Poster board. It'll be stiff, but it would work. Yeah, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to go grab those other papers and we'll do one or so of that, one or two of those other options, just so you can see. You know what would be really cool would be coffee dyed or tea dyed graph paper. Yeah, I said it. This one feels like it just needs that extra little spot done down here, even if it's not the full size or the same size as its brothers. Oop, go away. Okay. All right, let me go grab some alternate papers. All right, so I grabbed some graph paper and then just a couple sheets of copy paper. And I'm going to tear them this way. And I am not going to get real fussy and precious about how I'm tearing them. I'm just going to, I'm not measuring. I'm just, well, you see what I'm doing. And I'm not going to do all of these on camera, but I just want you to see how the different papers react and respond, and how the colors are going to look different, because you now, instead of starting from a yellow background, you're starting from a white background. Whoop. Okay, let's try that again. I need to hold that a little tighter, I think, and pull all the way through. There we go, that was better. Learning from my mistake. Sorry, I'm off camera a little bit here. Trying not to. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, that one wants to be torn, and might be the way the fibers are in the paper with this paper. I don't know. I'll make some skinny ones too. Imagine the graph paper is going to be easier to do squares on, squares on, because the graph grid is going to, you know, help you navigate that. So let's see. Let me clean this brush off. Let's go back to the purple and see. Just cleaning my brush slightly. I was rubbing it on my book and where did my there we go. All right, so let's go back to this purple that I'm still trying to clean up. Whoopsie, bring it back. I dropped water on it. Come back. Oh, this might be interesting. I just dropped water on this accidentally, and look, I think it bleeds. The graph paper does. Well, we're about to find out. How does purple and blue look together? We're about to find that out too. Oopsie. Well, it definitely helps you make your squares more square, I think, but ooh, soaks that paint up right away. It's not a bad thing, it's just be aware. Okay. I'm happy to clean up this purple. It's just a little more watered down because it is so intense. And there's very rare is the day that I need intense purple in any of my books, projects. But you never know. And then we'll do copy paper next, just so we can kind of get a feel for how the papers react, because, you know, I've said this in other videos, but I'm really trying to use what I have this year, and I've been so blessed. I have so much. Frankly, I have a shopping addiction, so by blessed, that means I have debt, and I really don't want to be in debt anymore. So I'm doing this to And that part's not a blessing. Being in debt is not a blessing. And it's not trying to be personal here. I'm just being real. And I'm trying to be more responsible and fiscally conservative with my funds. And that's doing two things. And plus, don't we all just get caught up in the hauls and the clearance sales and the whatever? And I've told my husband, I think maybe Joann's going out of business is like the best thing for me. Not for them, not for the employees. I'm so sorry for those employees. I've been in that situation where they are. I hate that feeling, that pit in their stomach of uncertainty. And gosh, I wish I could fix that for them. But man, I'm an impulse buyer. I go in, I see something on sale. It doesn't matter if I need it or not. Sometimes it does matter, but more times than not, I'm buying it because it's a good deal. Well, guess what? If you don't go in there, you can't buy anything. And for me, it's easier to buy in a store than it is to buy online. It is way easier. Okay, so this is soaking straight through, as you can see. And I mean, let's compare that to the book page, which did not soak straight through. The dictionary page, I should say. And here's the book page. Also, again, did not soak straight through. So obviously, these papers have, a higher density than this graph paper. But we're playing. That's what today's about. All right, so let's grab some copy paper, and let's do this and see, because you use what you have. That's what I was ranting on about aimlessly without a whole lot of conclusion to my starting conversation, but I'm trying to use what I have, and I'm trying to de-influence people. I'm trying not to influence people to buy things because I don't want to be buying things, and if you want to buy it, you got to knock yourself out. But I'm not trying to tell you need to have these things to be successful or to have fun or to find meditation in watercolor or to find joy in painting. Not at all. I'm saying that use what you have if that makes you happy. Now, I will tell you that if you go back and forth a lot on this paper, it will start to, I think the word is disintegrate. So be mindful of that. And as you can see now, I've cleared out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Cleared them out as good as enough pans with this little exercise that we've done together. And I'm here for it. I am not liking this copy paper with this paint at all. Now, I would probably repeat this experiment by maybe gluing 2 pieces of copy paper together to see if it gave a little more strength to it. Or maybe putting some, I don't know, it's hard to say, some gesso over it, but I don't know if that would work very well. I'm going to stop with the copy paper. It is really painful to do it. So this is a fail. Not a fail. This is a not great. I don't recommend it. I'm not going to stop. I'll finish it because that's who I am. I'm a clean plate girl. I will finish it, but I am not going to probably repeat this. And I'm just telling you, learn from what I'm doing here. This isn't great because the copy paper is, this is 20-pound copy paper for anybody asking or thinking or wondering, and I haven't said. But I didn't think to say so. Okay. Let's finish it up so we'll use it. It's just, I'm not going to repeat this little exercise because I thought book page was a similar thickness, half full, half empty, to copy paper. I have learned a valuable lesson today. It is not. And I'm just not getting great colors. I mean, I'm using the same dang colors. Look. That's the other thing. Look at that side by side. Which one would you want to use? This or that? The streaky or the yummy? Okay, that was a little baited, but you know what I'm saying. All right. I'm going to do this last one, and then we're going to call it a day. Because that'll give me 5. I like doing things in odd numbers. That'll give me 5. I am not enjoying that. I'm not sure I enjoyed the graph paper either. I mean, it's okay, but now here's what I wonder. I wonder how coffee dyed paper would differ. And I just so happen to have, and this is super dark, coffee dyed paper. Oops, nope, that's not coffee. That's a gel print. But you know what? I found a gel print that I hate. I have some gel prints here that I coffee dyed, and they came out super dark. And okay, I don't love this one, so let's try this one. This is copy paper. Where did my ruler go? Here we go. Let's just see what happens. This is a definite game of what if. Alright, let's keep using the same, to keep the experiment the same. Let's just keep using this color that's here in the middle that I just made a mess with again. And see now, okay, but how does it soak in? And what does it do to the back? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's going to soak right through. No, don't like it. Nope. Same general principle. I was wondering if maybe the coffee had somehow changed the, I don't know, not the weight of the paper, obviously, but I don't know, somehow it changed the, look at that. And see, that's acrylic paint right there. So that's resisting the coffee. That's resisting, yeah, well, the coffee and the watercolor. So ain't that interesting? Okay. So, we like the watercolor paper. We do. That's our favorite. Well, it's my favorite. Might not be your favorite, but it's my favorite. Just cleaning up this palette a little bit. Do this last one. Ooh, I like book page so much. I really thought I wasn't gonna be very happy with how, oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a jaggedy book page one like this. Because I think I like this better than the, than the pristine, or the, than the boxes. Okay, we need to mute that a bit. I want to mute that a bit. Oh, look, we almost have this guy cleaned up. What do you know about that? Woo! We made some progress, and we made some fodder in the meantime. We like it. Okay, I'm going to let these guys dry, or get my hair dryer or my heat tool out and dry them, and then we are going to do step 2. Welcome back. Okay, so everything's dry. The watercolor paper performed beautifully. Of course, even this cheap watercolor paper, I think this is Canson. The book page, nice. I mean, I'm not upset about that at all. Dictionary page, nice as well. The copy paper and the graph paper are really warped. Warfully, weevily. One of the things I've done in the past is I've actually taken a hair straightener, and a cheap one. And if you want these flat again, do that, straighten it. And this is the tea dyed paper. It dried better than it first started. It was really looking kind of gross. Oh, here's the back sides of these. Yeah, they're just not great. But you know what? You could back it. So here's what we're going to do next. Before we start saying what you could do. We're going to, here's what I want to do next. Is I want to just do, and I am intentionally not sticking to the lines of the box. So I'm going to start with this copy paper. And I'm using a number 5. This is a waterproof pen. You could use a Sharpie. This is a Micron 5. But what I'm doing is I'm just drawing some loose boxes here. And this is just meant to be another layer. And in my world, if I don't like something, I go add another layer. So I'm going to, as you can see, outline these guys, and I'm intentionally being kind of rough and rugged with it because the goal here isn't perfection. The goal here is to be fun. I don't know how to describe it other than that. The goal is to, and you could even go around them twice. Now, I'm going to do this other one here. I'm going to get out a number 2, which is a smaller line. So the smaller the number, the smaller the line. And I'm going to get out a number 2. And as an alternative, I think I'm going to get my number 2, unless I misplaced my number 2. It always helps if you have your... Oh, here it is. It's just hiding. So I'm going to go over here to this book page one. I'm going to do this greeny looking one. And I'm going to go around it twice. Now you can do this like I just did it, kind of boxy, or you can just do a continuous line. So I like doing a continuous line when I'm doing it twice, because then it just looks, I don't know, I like the look of it better. When you don't lift the pen is what I mean by a continuous line. And I think that, and then I'll do a 5 so that you can see the difference. Now maybe you change that depending on the color of your paper or the color of the pigment. This 2 may not show up very much. All right, let's try this one in a 5 and see which one we like. And we're going to compare apples to apples here, so it's dictionary to dictionary. But I kind of hold it back here so I'm not choked up on it. And I find I get a really nice organic line when I do it that way. Yeah, I lifted it up there, sorry. The goal is not to lift it up, but it was kind of skipping, so that's why I was repositioning. All right, let's try it this way. Maybe we'll skip this way. No, I like the 5 on this dictionary page better. I think I would like the 2 on a plainer paper, or a lighter color maybe. I'm going to switch back and forth and just see what you like. So let me kind of show you up close. So this is the 2 in my on the green, and then this is the 5. And those are just, you know, pretty simple boxes. And I like it a little bit better. So let's go back and, okay, I had a 5 on this one. Let's do a second line. Hold it more at the end. Let's do a second set of lines here. See if we like these. I think I do like these a little better. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I would have liked it better if I'd done it continuous the first time around. But that's okay. And I went really wide on that one. I don't care. I think I'm going to go back to a 2 on this because these are lighter. Yep, definitely like the 2. And when it skips over the watercolor paper, the little skibbity bits, I like that. See right here? See that little skibbity bit right there? I like how that looks, that little jumpy from where the pen nib either grabs the texture of the paper or just the angle at which you're pushing. Sometimes will make it do that little skip. But the second set of lines makes it look like you meant to do it. Or like it's like this is the way it's supposed to be. Some people use the word intentional. Yeah, intentional. But now I happen to like the boxes with my squares. I don't know if I've ever done it with the scratchy. Let's look and see how these would look with the squares if we like it. Of course, this is a darker pigment. I don't know if I like it with these, to be perfectly honest. Or maybe I would like the 2 better than the 5. All right. And we're just playing here. Purple's not my favorite color, so I don't mind if I get something less than with this. I can always cut this up and make this into some smaller pieces of fodder. Okay, all right. I think I like the smaller ones on the less perfect. I think I like the smaller lines on the scratchy watercolor. All right, let's chase the blob. Trace the blob and see if we like that better. Do we like that better? No, I don't. Let me go back on the shank a little bit more. But I'm trying to not do as hard an edge on the corners. Okay, what haven't we done? Got a couple of these guys here, and then I think everything else is done. All right, let's get these other 3 here squared away. I think I may go back to the 5 just because this is a darker color. Just kind of see what we get with this, with a little scratchy swatch that we're doing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then yeah, that looks good. This one's super dark. The lines may not show up much at all. Or it shows up fine. Well, it shows up in places, I should say. Alright, and so then the next thing we're going to do here in a second is we're going to do a little white splatter, I think. And I haven't quite decided. Oh, why didn't I finish that? If I'm going to use white paint, that's the easiest thing. Just a little white craft paint. You know, the 50-cent bottles from Walmart. That'll get you. Okay. All right, so that is here. Oh, got one more. Just kidding. JK. Let's use the number 5 again. The bigger tip. And I am barely letting this touch the paper. I'm just kind of letting it skim. I am not bearing down at all. The goal is not perfectly drawn boxes. You can buy that somewhere. Okay, so we've got our watercolor paper here. We're liking that. We've got our book and dictionary paper here. We're liking that. And then we have our copy paper and graph paper here. We're tolerating that. It's not that bad, actually. Now that I'm done, now that it's dry, I don't care for the streakiness in it, because I just like how watercolor behaves better on watercolor paper, or even book page. It behaves better. But that's okay. So that's step 2, and then step 3 we'll be doing a little splattering on it. And the watercolor paper may not do very well with that, but the book page tends to do pretty well with the splattering, because the watercolor paper is already so white that you only see it where it falls into the pigment. But I'm going to get that out anyway, just so you can see it, and then I'll splatter these guys as well, and that'll be step 3, and that'll be the end. All right, so I put down the little drop cloth so that I can kind of protect my work surface. I don't care if it gets a little bit here and there, but I just want the whole place covered. And as I mentioned, you could use like a cheap craft paint. This comes from Walmart. I think it's 58 cents. Or you could use something a bit more heavy duty. It's I think this is like more like in the $7 to $10 range, but this is called bleed proof white. I'm probably just going to go with the craft paint today just because I'm not feeling froggy. And all I'm going to do is I'm taking a cheap acrylic brush I don't care about, and grab a little paint on the ends, grab a whole bunch of water, and then I might just even do a little swishy here. Yep, that's official. Just to kind of mix it all up. And then I just tap. And the higher up you are, the different size of... And I just got my iPad and my desk and everything with white craft paint. Yay! I love it when I do that. Not. Okay, so we try it again. Stay low. Unless you just want it everywhere. The higher up you are, the smaller the drops can get. But it also is depending on the size of the brush you're using, the amount of paint, the amount of water. All of that will... I'm over here just to the... Might be a little off camera here, but... And the amount of splatters is just a... It's totally preferential treatment. I just want a little bit... Preferential treatment. Personal preference. Sometimes I want a lot on my iPad, and sometimes I don't. Now, one of the reasons why the bleed proof white is so important is because, and I'll show you right here, as the white starts to dry, sometimes it kind of disappears. So this white's still sitting there, but it may or may not sit there as it dries. It may kind of disappear into obscurity, but the splatters, man, there's just something about them. That's that layer thing. That's my constant mantra to myself is, if you don't like it, add another layer. What can that layer be? Lines, splatters, gold, ink, brown or black ink on the edges. Just depends. Okay, so I think that's gonna do it for me for this time. I'll clear this all up and do a thumbnail that's prettier than the backdrop here, but I gotta go clean all this white off my desk that I splattered everywhere. And I'll see you again next time. So thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Bye.